It is Wednesday, September 11th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by good friends over at 5 Hour Energy. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride, as well as we are T-minus 2.5 weeks left in the baseball season. Are you getting a little sad?
I'm not getting sad. This is actually when I get excited. I think the 10-day mark, 10 days left in the season is when I really am okay. We need
Yeah.
to be really scoreboard watching. Everyone's looking at every other game. The postseason is starting to get decided. We have a couple great series at the end of the year. So I think your team is who it is now. 10 games left, something like
Hope
that. You know,
so.
you either get your guys back or you don't. And yeah, this is not when I'm sad. This is when I'm excited, Chris.
Yes. That's true. That's true. I suppose if your team's not in it, that's where maybe you get a little melancholy and you look forward
Sure.
to the offseason. You start saying,
If
oh, I
your
wonder.
team's not in it by now, are you just checked out on baseball?
Yeah, I think you are. Yep. I think
Have
that's
you
a
switched
fair
over to
statement.
football?
Yep. I think you're everywhere else, and I think that's hard, which is too bad because it's such a great sport, but I understand it.
Hey, still
Today's
tune into us, though. Still tune into us for
I
some
hope
good
so.
ball talk.
Well, we got a lot of good stuff, so let's get to
Yeah.
it. Today's episode brought to you by 5 Hour Energy, which are shots that help you feel alert and energized. Why? Because each shot is packed with vitamins and nutrients and about as much caffeine as the leading premium coffee. Here's the nice kicker. It contains zero sugar. So you're going to drink it in seconds, you'll feel it in minutes, and it'll last for hours. It's available in a wide range of great flavors across regular strength and extra strength varieties. All you have to do, head on over to 5hourenergy.com. Use that code JOHNBOY to save 20% on your first order. That is the number 5hourenergy.com. Code JOHNBOY, save 20%. And don't forget to get your 5 Hour Energy question of the weekend by Thursday night so we can use it on Friday's show. Two tips of the cap. One really good one on the field and one kind of fun one. Kader Montero, who's a rookie for the Tigers, and as Tigers fans alerted us the other day when we talked about their team, they have had one of the top ERAs in baseball, I believe, either since the trade deadline. He threw a complete game 3-hit shutout. First rookie to pull a Maddox, right, under 100 pitches and facing the minimum. I think since they started tabulating this stuff in the late 80s. So good for him and good for the Tigers who continue to play great baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I got to see this guy pitch this year in person, and I remember seeing him and saying, "Wow, he's got the stuff.
Yeah.
Can he locate?" And then here he comes and he throws a Maddox, which clearly you have to locate to be able to do that. So, I love it. I love when guys figure stuff like that out, and that's kind of why we see scouting and drafting becoming what it is. Like stuff first, we can teach you how to pitch, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I was impressed with him. Him and
Yeah.
like Louis Ortiz, the guy for the Pirates, were two guys. I'm like, they could be really good.
Yeah. No, he's been great. And the Tigers really remain within sniffing distance of your Twins for that third and final playoff
Oh,
spot.
yes, they are.
Yeah. But then the other tip of the cap, one of the greatest moments I've seen all season, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who's been incredible the last few months, is trying to stretch a base hit into a double. He slides in and thinks he's safe. At least that's the call originally, but we're going to have a replay. Everybody gets together, including Jesse Winker, who threw the ball from left field. And then they reverse the call, and Winker's reaction, he just stares down Vlad, starts nodding his head and looking at him. And the two actually, Winker extends his hand, and they shake hands. I mean, it was a thing of beauty, dude.
We need more of this bipartisanship. Look at this.
Ah,
Outfielder throwing somebody out. No, it's great. This is just great baseball fun right here. And Winker clearly is very comfortable there in New York. I hope he stays in with the Mets. I think
that's a
it's
good
been
fit.
such a good spot for him.
Yeah.
But this is what the game's all about. I know some people don't like it. We're going to talk about an old school guy later on in the show who probably didn't like seeing that. But dude, at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of people performing, entertaining the masses here. That was a great baseball play. It's okay. You can still play hard against somebody and have fun. And have fun.
You all right? Oh, my God. You got all choked up. While you clear your Kilkin, Spilkin, and your Connecticut, I'll tell everybody about what actually happened, which wasn't so nice and pretty in the baseball world. Rays, Phillies, 2008 World Series rematch, and it got ugly. Really did. Nick Castellanos is up late in the game. The Phillies have tacked on. They're up 9-4 in the eighth. And he actually got hit on a pitch by Edwin Uceta, who's been very good this year. So did it get away? Was it intentional? Well, obviously, if you go into the Phillies clubhouse afterward, and there is no question what the intent was.
Yeah, I almost like I got into the box. I wasn't even swinging because I thought there was a chance that that could happen, and it happened. I think that he was just pissed off that his numbers got messed up.
You don't have any beef with him, right?
No, just other than like having a overwhelming sense that I was about to get drilled. Yeah, I just told him that was bullshit.
That kind of summed it up.
You know, I mean, it's you're throwing a baseball over 90 miles an hour and you're frustrated and you're gonna throw at somebody. You know, that's like my 2-year-old throwing a fit because I take away his dessert before he's finished.
You know what, though? I'm sorry. If you take away somebody's dessert before they're finished, that is a reason that you can get hit by 90+ miles an hour.
I knew you were going to say something.
But it's true. I'm sorry. I was offended by Castellanos. What in the world is he doing? Who takes away a dessert from a 2-year-old before they're finished?
You could have said, instead of his 2-year-old, he could have said, that's like taking Chris Rose's dessert away from him before he's finished.
I mean, then it's fighting time. I might not win the fight. But go ahead, try and put your hands in front of my mouth and take my dessert away before I'm finished. We'll see if you have any fingers left. You're gonna be walking around looking like this. Thumbs gone.
I didn't even eat dessert. That's why I just had a strawberry seed in the back of my throat. What the heck was that about?
Jeez. Yeah. All right. So I know your stance on the whole. Why do we throw it, guys? Like particularly when you're not doing well. Like this stuff just gets tired and tired and tired. Did you like the way at least the Philly team reacted to this whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they had Castellanos back, and Harper runs in there. Doesn't really go after anybody, but he shows his support. That's kind of what happens in baseball fights. Usually punches are not thrown, especially at this time of the year. I think it's probably smart for Bryce and the Phillies to not engage with the Rays, who are largely out of the playoff race, and the Phillies trying to have the best record in baseball. So it's a smart move. I didn't love the situation. It looks really bad. 2 homers, a double, then you plunk a guy. And just, I mean, it looked really intentional. I don't know what you said us after the game. I'm sure he said it slipped or got away from him, whatever it was. But it's a really, really bad look. I think Castellanos is allowed to say whatever he wants after something like that. We've had a lot of talk about guys getting hit as of late. Whit Merrifield went on the spiel about there needs to be repercussions for guys. There should be a rule. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how that could ever come into play. Maybe they've figured something out with the Players Association. I doubt it. Unless it's something like, the NFL now has done so much to protect quarterbacks, and you go too low, penalty. You can't put your weight into a guy as you're driving him into the ground, penalties. So maybe if a pitcher throws a ball and it hits a guy, above the nameplate or the letters, maybe he gets tossed immediately. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Maybe that's what comes into play. I don't know, but I thought the Phillies did the right thing there.
Yeah, it was fine. The rule you suggested will never happen. If it
does,
think
so?
No.
I think it might. I think if we're talking like shoulders or above and somebody gets hit, I think maybe they'll say out right away.
That's tough because the penalties you're talking about for the NFL, although they're pretty severe, 15 yards is very severe. It's not an ejection. The only thing you're going to get ejected for the most part is using your head as a weapon, which you should. I mean, you should. So, and they don't care about intent or not in the NFL. Here, it really is all about intent. You've seen guys who lose a ball.
It doesn't have to be intent. I think that's the point what Merrifield was trying to make is if you can't throw inside, don't throw inside.
Right,
that's what every hitter thinks that. And I understand there are times where a ball is going to get loose.
Yeah, it does, right?
But it seems like it happens a lot more often nowadays.
Yeah, who said it did? He went through an interpreter and he said, "Listen, I just lost it. Happens. Bad pitch." But he did have a great ERA coming into this thing under a 0.8. He's been remarkable this year, and he did. Yeah. He got his balls kicked in and wasn't pretty. All right, let's move on.
Some stuff coming on that, guys.
Yeah, I heard.
Be on the lookout.
Okay, good. I mean, this is Jimmy.
He was very, very excited about it. I'll say that.
This is Jimmy Gold, as we like to say. Well, 2 years ago, the Phillies actually prevented the Padres from getting to the World Series. Could we see a playoff rematch between those two teams? Perhaps, if Manny Machado has anything to say about it.
Machado hits one to right center field. Back goes Rodriguez looking up. Manny Machado stands alone as the Padres' all-time home run leader. Man, oh Manny, you are number one in Padres history.
So before we get to Machado, this is amazing. That is a record that stood. Nate Colburn had the record. Nate Colbert had the record of 163 homers. That was it for the Padres. But it stood for 50 years. 50 years. Can you believe that? That low a number?
I can't. He's not in my book, number one. I don't know Nate, but congrats on having that for so long. It's crazy to me because he's only played there for how many years? 5 years, 6 years?
Yeah, but I mean, he finished there in 1974. So you would have figured that somebody, the problem was
I agree.
They're great power hitters that they have had at times, whether it's a Dave Winfield, Greg Vaughn was there for a while. The late Ken Caminiti was there. Those guys didn't have the longevity in a Padres uniform, and their greatest player ever, Tony Gwynn, was not a home run hitter.
Yeah. Khalil Green didn't ever turn on like I thought he would. That was my guy.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Let me ask you this
Yes.
before we get into it. Where is Machado rank on Baltimore's all time? I know that's going to be down, but I assume he's top 10.
Well, let's see.
It's some big homer seasons there. 35, 37, 33, 37.
Yeah. So he had, I think, probably like high 180s or something. Let's see here. With
Baltimore, he had 162 homers.
Yeah.
13. So
they've had some guys that could swing it there.
Yeah, much longer franchise and
All right. Let's get to the big question. How do you think most people view Manny Machado's career? Because there have been some high highs and some questionable decisions early in his career. What do you think most people think of him?
I feel like we had this discussion already on this show, and I think that baseball players will tell you that he's like one of the OGs in the game. Like he's very much respected and very much like if he says something, it carries a ton of weight in the game of baseball. That's just straight facts right there, people. The Miami contingency is very large in the big leagues. There's a group of guys from Miami and the surrounding areas, and they're a tight-knit group, and they're a very influential group in baseball. And Manny's like the ringleader of that group. So I think baseball players really value him and what he's been able to do. And then I think baseball fans, for the most part, really understand we're looking at, a very, very good baseball player. I don't want to say one of the all-time greats, but he's a hell of a ball player, dude. And he's had the longevity. He's already played 13 years in the show. I think there's a few things, like you mentioned, like the throwing the bat at Josh Donaldson, like the follow through. There's that, and then there is stepping on the first baseman's ankle. Mets fans will always talk about him going in, and who did he broke up a double play and hurt somebody?
Oh no, it was Dustin Pedroia, wasn't it?
Yeah, Red Sox fans, excuse me, Dustin Pedroia. So there's some things that people won't like. What's that?
He said, Dan's chiming in. He said Johnny Hustle stuff, like where he doesn't hustle and
he's just been, I feel like he's been under the microscope for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, dude, I think that he's misjudged by fans. I really do. I think go into the locker rooms and talk to the guys that play with him who actually really know him. It's really important to talk to people that actually know somebody, and they'll shine a completely different light on this guy.
Right. I agree with you 100% because I have done that. Right. I mean, I'm more of a fan than anything else. Obviously not a baseball player. I have covered the sport for several decades, but when you go talk to them and you're like, well, what's the deal with Manny? They're all like, yeah, good dude. And you know what he does? I know there's been a couple of times he's missed, he stepped on the bag one time in Colorado and missed some time. He is available. He is available. He's going to end up putting up some amazing numbers in this sport. Like he does have a chance at 500 homers. He does have a chance at 3,000 hits. He is one of the greatest. Like I know that Chapman and Arenado probably get more love for their glove over there. But as far as an arm goes in the history of third base, I can't remember a guy who makes such challenging throws look so effortless. I mean, you as a guy who spent your entire career over there must sit there and go, how the hell does he do that?
Yeah, there's a lot of throws that like I just couldn't make that he could make. You know, he has that superior arm talent. It's incredible. I'm actually watching the Manny Machado slide because I remembered it, but it's been a while since I've watched it.
It was late.
It's not. Red Sox fans are gonna hate this. It's not that bad of a slide. Yeah, his spikes were up, and I think that's it. But there was no. I don't think there was any aggressiveness necessarily in that slide. A little late, but it wasn't like he was going and blasting through. He actually like pulled his spikes back. I know Pedroia, it wasn't good for him, but I don't think you can hold that against Manny. I mean, guys went into the base much harder than that through the history of the game, and even in that period of time, which was 7 years ago now.
You know what I think part of it is that he's got I'm the cool guy look too. I think that's part of it. I think people look at him and they're like, do you really play hard? He makes some things look effortless. He is just oozing talent. And so people are like, well, if he just gave more of a shit. Are there times where he hasn't hustled? Yeah, dude. I mean, that happens all the time in this sport. All the time.
Guys has to wait
Here's
on
a
it
slide
a bit.
right here.
Gets the certain out.
Yeah, I mean, it looked late. He had spikes.
They're gonna show a replay right here of him going in. Here it is.
Yeah.
So there's no like he's not pushing through right there. I don't know, man. I know that's not good for Pedroia. I understand why Red Sox fans would share some ill will towards Machado because of that. And Petey was one of their favorite guys ever.
Right.
But if you're just looking at that slide objectively, I mean, it's a little late. Spikes are up, but that was commonplace in the game.
Yeah. Listen, I like watching him. I think he's, we don't have talents like that come around all the time. He's going to end up playing 20 years. I mean, if for no other reason than he's going to make $39 million a year from age 34 season through age 40. He's going to be with us a while.
I'm looking now because I have this up on YouTube. The next video is Machado thrown at twice, doubles in response. That must have been the next day.
Amazing. All right. You know what we all need a little bit more of? To get off our ass with bold flavors, refreshing citrus kick. Mountain Dew is going to get you off your ass and have you feeling like you're on an actual mountain. A mountain where the weather is always perfect, where your friends are ready to hang, and a day of epic proportions awaits. You like having fun outside? Go for it. I don't care whether it's casting a rod when you're fishing, playing a little pickup football, tossing a Frisbee, playing Frisbee golf, doing a longest throw contest. If you've got a monitor set up and you want to take your headsets outside, go play video games. You could play kickball with Kickball Dad if you got him like in your phone like I do, and I heard from him the other day. If you want to play golf, if you want to play blitzball, wiffle ball, pickleball, don't care what type of ball it is. You want to go out and scream at the top of your lungs and feel great? Well, guess what? The mountain is calling, and you should answer. So go grab your friends, grab an ice-cold Mountain Dew wherever refreshing beverages are sold. And I got 3 words for you. Do the do. We continue on here on baseball today. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He pitched last night for the first time since the middle of June and looked amazing. 8 Ks, 4 innings, 1-run ball against the Cubs, who came back and actually topped the Dodgers for a second straight night. How much does Yamamoto's performance change your opinion of the Dodgers' injury-plagued rotation?
I don't know if it changes the expectation because we talked about this. Like, they need him to look like this. They need Tyler Glasnow to come back. They need Jack Flaherty to continue to do what he's done. If those guys don't turn it around, then my thoughts on the Dodgers change completely. Like I understand that they have an offense that could 3-run homer you to death. They can do a lot of different things. They can score runs. They're a good offense. But the starting pitching, especially when you get down to these playoff series, is obviously very, very important. And if they didn't look like this, things would change. I was expecting this. I really was. You know, I didn't know about, he went almost 60 pitches. I believe it was 59 is what he ended up. I think both you and I, what did we say yesterday?
We said
50?
right around 50.
So a little bit, he was a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, he got stretched out a little bit more. They wanted it. He was
Stretched out
cruising.
more than we thought. He was cruising. So they let him go a little more, which I think that, you know, if anything, it bolsters my, you know, my thought process on the rotation, but they needed this. That 100%. Like, this is some, not only the results on the field, but I feel like mojo in the clubhouse. You get a guy like Yamamoto back, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, like we knew that we were deficient, and our starting pitching's been hurt all year long. But it only starts to matter really now. So if everyone is back and you have those top 3 guys plus, you know, a Landon Knack or whoever can, you know, kind of be your 4th guy, whether Gavin Stone is back or not. Like that just brings everybody up in the clubhouse.
Yeah. So he's got 2.5 weeks. So that'll give him another couple of starts. And I think if they feel like that he can see the 6th inning, which isn't all that far away from where he went, that they're going to feel much better. And I would, if I were a Dodger fan, like I would walk away from last night's game, even though the Dodgers lost, feeling great about what they saw last night. He was so filthy. Like the Cubs were swinging at some pitches where you're like, whoa, like he was great. He was phenomenal. And that's a huge step forward. So I would feel great about it. Feel great. Glass now is supposed to throw another bullpen, I believe maybe today. And we'll see where that one goes.
Yeah, get some inside info on that. How many pitches is he throwing? Is he going to rehab, or is he going to come straight back to the big leagues? Like, what's going to happen? There's not that. I don't think there's many games left in the minor league season.
No, there aren't. No, he's going to have to. He probably have to throw on the field against hitters, and
and
that might be his.
Back.
That might be it. Particularly since they do have kind of a. I mean, unless things go way wrong over the next 10 days, they're going to end up. What?
Just thinking about that. When's the shirtless day? Is it going to be the Monday? Is it going to be next Monday?
Sunday is the deciding factor. It's after the 15th is a Sunday. So once the games are done on Sunday, I have to have somebody within 3.5. What is it right now?
It is 4.5 for the Padres, 5 for the. It's close.
It is close. It's close. It is close. And this weekend aren't the Dodgers in Atlanta? I think.
We just had all this stuff up. Let's see. Dodgers are, let's see, where are you at? Dodgers go to Atlanta. 4 at Atlanta. Then the Marlins, then Rockies.
Well, I only care about Atlanta.
Yeah.
I only care about Atlanta. So don't worry. We'll talk about that on Friday's show.
Speaking of Atlanta.
Woo, nice work there.
Segue?
I love that. Yeah, Chipper Jones. He went on the Casa de Club podcast recently. It wasn't like days ago. I think this was a couple of weeks ago. But the clip just came out, or at least it just got some traction. Had some interesting things to say, in particular about today's game and his beloved Braves.
I can't stand giving away outs. I can't stand strikeouts. I can't deal with guy on third, less than 2 outs, not hitting a ground ball to shortstop or second base to get that run in. 100 RBIs, so what? You know, I mean, I want to hit 40 dingers. And, you know, this is truly a chicks dig the long ball kind of era. It's hard to watch. I don't watch as much as I want to because I find myself throwing flip-flops at the TV.
Does the Hall of Famer have a point, or is this just older man yelling at clouds?
Man, okay. I'm trying to, like, you know, I respect Chipper Jones and what
he's
he brought.
entitled to his opinion, but so are you.
Entitled to his opinion.
Let's not tiptoe around this. Is he right or is he wrong?
I think there's a sentiment around guys that are not playing anymore, whether it's recently retired or, like, you know, when was his last year? 2000 something. But
yeah, I want to say it was 10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah. So there is a sentiment around those guys that obviously the game has changed. More data than ever. The analytical departments of teams are bigger than ever. They weren't even around when Chipper was playing. And largely there are decisions made by numbers, which a lot of guys don't like. So there are some aspects to that I do agree with. I believe there is. Your eyes still tell the truth. Guys that have been around the game, I still think are very valuable. I think you need veterans to navigate a 162 season. I think a lot of those things have been negated through data, and I don't necessarily agree with that. So I find myself, like there are things that I don't like about the game now, but I understand this is like my perspective. And that's like my one thing I try to really have in this life, whether it's baseball or not, it's perspective. Take a step back. Every single generation of players that leaves the game thinks the next generation is going to ruin it. Every single generation of people thinks the youth is in trouble and that it's all going to blow up and it's going to be bad. Elvis Presley was the devil, right? Like you couldn't watch him. He was so bad. Now look back, Elvis Presley was the devil. Like, what are we talking about here? So I just think that you gotta, this is what you have to do. When you're a former player, you just got to trust that your wisdom that you imparted on the game, you hope that the next generation takes that and continues down, a path that makes baseball a great game. I still think it's I still think it's a great game. You just have to pass it off. It's not yours anymore. Like, it's not. Once you're a former player, that game isn't yours. It's the next generation's game. So let them go do their things. You can have your opinion, but if you're not going to do anything about it, like if you're not going to insert yourself back into the game, and I know he does broadcasting, I'm sure he's done some roving instruction as well. But like, if you're not going to do anything about it, then it's all it is an opinion. So you can have it, but if you're going to go so far as say you can't watch the games, you're throwing your flip-flop at the screen, then, involve yourself in it. Go change it. Go change the culture of the Braves. Go manage the Braves. Go do something. It's okay. You can not like it, but I don't like when guys get around and just start degrading the game of baseball.
So he finished playing in 2012, just to get that on the record. Chipper is right in some instances when it comes, if you were to look at, so the middle of his career was the year 2000. And so that's the year I just picked. Since then, batting average is down, league average 26 points from then until now. OPS is down from 782. League average was 782 back then to 713. Runs scored per team down from 5.14 to 4.42. And strikeouts per team per game is up from 6.45, so almost 6.5, to almost 8.5 per game, per team. That's not good evidence in today's game. With all that being said, if you can't watch it, go do something else. I have seen totally different styles of baseball in my 5 decades of being a baseball fan.
Yes.
The biggest issue with today, and we've spent a lot of time on it, is that the pitchers are so good. So good. When Colin Cowherd gives his one national spiel every 6 months about baseball and he talks about how the hitters stink, it's because he's not watching the game. The pitchers have become so good that it has virtually made it so that all you can do is hope that you hit a home run at this point. And I personally don't find that the most entertaining baseball. It's why I was okay with them enlarging the bases, doing the only 3 step-offs per at-bat rule. Like, I'm okay with that because they're trying to make the field a little more even for the offenses so we can use the wonderful athleticism that's available in the game. Like, there haven't been a lot of Ellie De La Cruzes walking this earth. He's awesome. Let's take advantage of that. So I understand what Chipper's saying, but yeah, like, I don't know, man. To me, the most shocking thing is that Corey Kluber's got a podcast. I was like, what?
I'm just more on the camp of let's uplift the game. Let's if you want to talk about it negatively, like, okay, then how do you fix it?
Right.
What do you think? What are your ideas to fix the game? Now, like, again, it's like you talked about the pitchers are good and there's reasons for that. And I don't know how to fix that. So
I don't
I'm not
either.
going to sit here and complain about it. The fact that these guys can pitch design in any given moment is a huge reason. Obviously, velocity is up. Like, yeah, Chipper saw some guys throwing hard, but not consistently this hard.
No.
The way the bullpen usage is completely different than when
Total.
Chipper played. You used to want to get into the bullpen. I'm not so sure you want to get into people's bullpens anymore. It's more like, hey, hopefully that starter sticks around for the third time through. Like, everything has completely changed. That's why when we talk about offense being down, and you talk about what Aaron Judge has done this year and Juan Soto and these guys that are putting together these seasons, it's harder to hit than ever before in the history of the game. These guys are facing more pitchers than ever before in the history of the game, and the pitchers have so many ways to improve on a game-by-game basis. They have so much more data on each of these hitters. It's harder to hit than ever. So, like, yeah, the numbers are down, but it's not because the guys aren't trying, dude. It's because the game is a lot harder.
There's one other thing. Chipper was a badass MFer. You can have whatever opinion you want to have about him, and there's a wide range of that. He was a legendary player, a 930 OPS who could hit for average. I think he's the only switch hitter to have an over 300 lifetime average and more than 400 home runs. I mean, he had more walks than strikeouts in his career.
Oh, I love that. Chipper.
He was
it for me.
Elite of the elite. And so I think sometimes, like, he knew how good he was, but it's possible it's hard for him to step back and be like, not everybody's Chipper Jones, man.
Not everyone's Chipper Jones, bro.
They just
not
aren't.
Chipper Jones.
And that's the highest compliment I can pay him, is that if you're blinded a little bit by that philosophy, then I get it. You know?
Also, and look, take this for what it's worth. I'm just spitting facts here. That's what I do on this show. What do they pay you for now? They don't pay you for average,
right,
dude.
No, they don't.
They don't care about batting average.
They do not.
They do care about slugging percentage.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really pay you for RBI anymore. They've degraded that statistic. It's, so like the things that he's talking about, guys, sure, that's all great. But like, guys are trying to get paid here and get signed, and this is what teams are looking at. They're looking at different metrics to sign you to their team and to pay you money. So like you that's what you got to do.
All right, last point, and then we got to get going.
Okay.
Is that we would be remiss if we didn't mention that he played in the most embarrassing era in the history of the sport, in the steroid era. And so all those numbers that I just read come with an asterisk, in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of drug testing going on nowadays.
So
hard to circumvent that.
And by that, I am not saying that Chipper Jones never was.
No, you were talking about
in anything. I'm talking about the era and the league statistics. Okay?
You went to 2000, right? I mean, that's like right in the thick of it.
Yes, right in the heart of it all.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one more topic still to go, but first, a word from my buddy Trevor Plouffe.
Oh, I'm not ready for this. Hold on, I got it. One sec. And still not ready for this. Guys, this is all part of the show. TD Tutty taking it to the house. Whatever you call a touchdown, they matter more at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And right now, all new customers who bet $5 will instantly get $250 in bonus bets, plus 1 month of NFL Plus Premium. Now, that's something we all can celebrate. Who doesn't love a touchdown? There's honestly nothing better. I love touchdown celebrations as well. I wonder what mine would be. I don't really know. I would not do the gritty. I know that for sure. Listen, that's $250 in bonus bets instantly and 1 month of NFL Plus Premium after betting just $5. So stay in on the action and use your $250 in bonus bets to bet anytime touchdowns on DraftKings, which is the place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code BASEBALL today, all one word, and bet just $5 on any wager and get $250 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code BASEBALL today only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Sorry, I was busy doing the gritty over here.
I can't.
All right.
I mean, I can do it.
You think I can? Last thing, we'll be quick on this. Twins snapped a skid, got a much-needed win to help boost their wild card chances. Kyle Farmer hit a home run. And guess what? When he got to the dugout, we saw the return of the rally sausage encased in something. Is that a sausage condom? I don't know what that thing is. Are you A, in favor of whatever gets the boys going again, or B, embarrassed that this thing is back?
I am in favor of anything that gets my guys going again. And really, look, the sausage is great. I knew they kept it for emergency reasons, and quite literally, it's an emergency for the Minnesota Twins right now. Rocco called the team unprofessional, blew them up in a closed door meeting. So they're trying everything there. And my thought process is, somebody just needed to step the freak up, Chris. And it was my guy Kyle Farmer to get them going against the Angels. One win. They also need Carlos Correa back. But anything, I don't care what it is. They got to get going. Because honestly, I think, well, obviously the Braves and the Mets, they have one of those teams is not going to make the playoffs. Or I guess San Diego or Arizona could falter. I don't see that happening. But the Twins are probably my team most likely to fall out of playoff contention if they don't right the ship immediately.
Okay, real quickly. Is this the same sausage?
Yes.
Oh, God.
To my knowledge, it's the same sausage.
We need some sausage experts.
I'm pretty sure it is. I remember them keeping it, and I don't know. That doesn't make sense to bring out a new sausage.
So, but the thing's been opened, right?
I don't think it's been opened.
So we think
It's
just
also
still
it's
tightly
also
sealed?
a summer sausage that doesn't need, like, it's cured. It's okay.
What's the longevity on that thing?
I don't know. However long you want it to be.
Ugh.
However long you want your sausage to be, Chris, that's what it is.
Well, whatever it was, it worked because the Twins scored their most runs in a game since August 21st.
Someone step up. Kyle Farmer, by the way, numbers looking better on the year.
Okay. All right. That's enough
Getting
Twins
it
talk for
going.
the day. We are back at it again on Thursday for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Thursday here on Baseball Today, presented to you by 5 Hour Energy.